Hi, welcome back to Adventures in NoWhere, the fake pod where we do a real pod. Did you like that?
It's not bad.
it's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
It was originally going to be called Welcome Back to the Pod.
I like welcome back to something that you've never been welcomed back to before.
Yeah, this is the first one. And if it's not the first one that uploads, that's embarrassing.
Well, I thought about having just like glasses here so you can show the continuity errors.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Okay, so obviously you did like kind of everything for this weekday's album. Wanted to talk to you about, I guess, first of all, the word mark. What's up with that? What was kind of like, what did we talk about?
Well, we talked about doing something more rustic and gothic.
Yeah.
About 3 years ago, I showed you the seminal Christmas movie, Green Knight.
Okay, so you showed me Green Knight. Yeah.
So it's like it's contained.
Yeah.
Yeah, I showed you Green Knight, and I think that was also, you had just finished recording the album for the most part. It was end of like it was in the process of like recording and like doing like post work for the album.
We finished actually recording the record in 22. 22 is like when the record was like
so
done.
I think this was like New Year's 22. We were
Got
hanging out, and I was like, I got this Green Knight movie, and I think you quite fell in love with it. But then I showed you the whole like art campaign behind it, and all that, and that kind of fit really well with what the album was doing.
Yeah,
anyway.
I agree. Yeah, I feel like when I was sending you reference images, I was sending you a lot of like I was searching a lot for like the Green Knight stuff on that.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen that campaign, you can like, I don't know, pop it up here or whatever. But
yeah, it'll go on the screen.
It's just like very medieval fantasy and like manuscript vibe, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I know you wanted to go like that route, so we knew we wanted black letter.
Right.
And then from there, I'm a fan of taking something that's like nice and prim and proper and just really messing it up.
Yeah.
Making it look like rough and worn.
Right.
And so kind of like going that way with it.
We did the word mark first, if I remember correctly. And then what was the second thing that we worked on? I think the second thing we worked on was the layout.
You needed the album layout done. And I think the word mark, like in that process, I was getting the document set up for the album layout because you have the key art for the back and front.
Yeah, which was done by Sim Morales of Insiggy, of Insignificant Other, who just released a song recently, by the way.
Oh, yeah, 'tis the season.
It was really funny, actually. So we released a song, and then Woolbright released a song, and then 2 days later, Insig released a song, and all three of us were like, what is it, 2019? Like, what the fuck's going on?
And I think Woolbright also had, like, key art.
By Sim also.
As well. Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
But you had that key art, and so I needed to get it laid out for the LP for the gatefold.
Right.
And in that process, in that file, I just had pages of typefaces that we were messing with for the word mark, both for the weekdays and for the Magic's Gone variants.
Right. And
I was sending you 10 to 15 versions of those, minorly tweaking it to see what works.
Right. Yeah. I think it was working pretty well because I want to say like I was on tour while we were talking about it.
You're always on tour.
I'm always on tour.
Yeah.
I think we had talked about the layout, and I was really stoked about like the way that we were talking about it. And obviously we had already had the key art for the cover, the cover art done, and the key art for the back. That got done like 2 years ago, even.
I didn't know it was that long ago.
Yeah,
that tracks. That fits this album.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah,
because you told me about the story about this album in like 2018.
2018 is when we wrote it. Yeah. 2018 is when we wrote it. Yeah. Talk to me about the rest of the layout. Obviously, like a lot of it's not been like super public, but like fuck it, we'll throw some shit up here in this video. Talk to me about like the filigree that we did and the layout of the story. I think those are my two favorite parts.
I think it goes back to the whole like medieval Green Knight sort of vibes, and then from there you kind of just let me run wild with it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
which is also just part of your MO.
Yeah.
And like I did when we did the T-Full hands, the postcards from
Oh yeah, you did do those. Yeah, you did those too.
And you kind of gave me like a prompt with that, and I was like, I'm gonna do like key objects with hands and like go from there and see what's up. But that's also kind of like a similar vibe of scratchy and perfect looking.
Oh my god, do you guys see this?
Hell yeah!
Go away.
Or come up.
I just don't want him to like knock everything over.
For sure, he will.
I hope
he'll be back.
I hope the people at home
found
like
a bag.
Yeah, it's good.
I love him so much.
The bag of lights came in, yeah. Good job.
Yeah. He's highly susceptible to a cat trap. But we had the word mark, and I was already laying stuff out, and we wanted to look like medieval and like manuscripty.
Yeah.
And so it was a matter of taking however much big body of copy, which was a lot of trimming down and telling you this isn't going to work at this scale, etc. and then filling in whatever else looks good. We're using the word filigree. It's kind of like filigree adjacent or like filigree light. It's not like heavy, like very detailed. It's like my take on it, which is
which I think
pretty minimal,
which I think works. I think it like fits the idea of what's going on, and it kind of captures like the gold, because it's all gold inlays kind of. And we had so much. The key art has so much of this like really deep green that kind of feels like foresty. It's almost black. It's almost black,
like mystical. And I kind of keyed out a lot of that to make like a large swath of it, so I can like put that all on the inside as well.
Right. Yeah, I think that like the framing of everything with like the quote unquote filigree like worked really well, and I think that you really killed it with approaching the, this comes back up later, but with the justified approach to the text. Especially with all the text layout that's in there.
Yeah, and that was you coming in like, we were theorizing it, like talking it out, but you were like leaning into the justified thing, and it was kind of like, well, how can I get the type looking like really good in that sense?
Yeah.
But also, if you do it right, it stretches so much that it looks weird, and you have to really lean in to read it, but it also looks like a little like mystical. Yeah.
It definitely feels like storybooky in its own ways, which I really appreciate. I think one of the things with it is that And the way that the filigree and like the justified looks really play into each other is that like the filigree gives us the bounds within which we use the justified typeface, So I think it like they play nicely off of each other, like these two elements of kind of the same thing, like giving bounds to the content that's in there, the copy that's there.
And then once we got it laid out all nice and clean, we had to distress it and make it look a little worn.
Right.
So and it's like such details where you'll never know if you're not looking really hyper closely.
Right.
Which is just, for whatever reason, stuff I'm obsessed with doing, just like tiny little details like that.
Yeah, which I think was like a similar approach to the album itself, like in the recording process of it. There's lots of...
If you know, you know.
Right. There's lots of stuff that like Chris does, or that we were doing and trying to do that was like, let's approach this in a way where we're putting a lot there. This is kind of like the Weekdays approach in general. Like, let's put a lot there that if somebody wants to have access to that, they can have access to that. But it kind of requires you to look,
Well, it's also one of those things of like, if you get it, you really get it. And then like the appreciation level, I think
get it.
And then like your appreciation level, I think, is like significantly like more attached with like this piece of work that you're looking at, because you notice like this little intricate detail that like the creator cared about to put in there.
Right.
But most people will never like see it. Not that they don't care. It's just like so tiny.
Yeah. I think that's like generally the Weekdays approach. I think that's like generally how we approach things, and whether it's like the content or whether it's like other work we've made in the past, whether it's like the postcards we made for T-Fool or the book that we made for T-Fool or all this other stuff. Like, I feel like that was kind of always our approach, even like Tight, and even on, the Split, it's like, there's like tons of stuff in there that you're just like, I mean, musically, like, who the fuck's going to notice this? But also, like...
just little bits of ear candy.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We've talked about the T-Fool postcards now, but we also we've done a round of postcards for Magic's Gone. Talk to me about those. It's pretty simple this time, though.
Well, it was just... I think because the T-Full postcards exist, it's an excuse to do them this time around.
Right.
Because you guys did this really cool, like, IRL mailing list.
Yeah,
which is... it's brilliant.
You can still sign up for, by the way.
Yeah, it's like this... I don't know, it's like a street team, like, esque approach of doing it.
Yeah, I had not had that thought.
I mean, kind of, yeah. Because, like, I don't know, like, how, like, wide, like, or how deep the list is going these days, but, like, sharing people that, like, get them in the mail or, like, have, like, framed them and collecting them, you have, like... I don't know. It's like this organic messaging that you have attached to it. Where it's also like a cool way to just like, hey, if you care enough, like sign up, and it's a little goodie in the mail.
Yeah. I think I order 75 of each postcard right now. I think we're sending out between 50 to 60-ish.
I don't know. I guess you get to exist in like this niche little level of like, however big the band is versus like how accessible and interactable it is with people. But it's just like tangible way of like doing that. I have art back here that's from illustrators that were like, hey, if you mail back like proof of something, like I'll send you this. And I don't know. And I've appreciated like angles like that.
Yeah. I think that the postcard, I'm going to talk to Lindsay more about like the postcard angle in general, like why we did it, you know, because I think that Lindsay's like back when we had like when they had the idea when we were doing T-Fool, I think that Lindsay's approach was pretty indicative of like the things that I care about, pretty indicative of the things that like, Weekdays as a band cares about. whether Arby or Alex or even Willow. You know, I feel like the postcard approach to this one was a little bit more like, we have this key art and we're just going to sub it in.
Yeah.
One thing I really do appreciate about this album that we did was that we didn't leave the left-hand side of the postcard open. It was like, we're like, okay, no, I'm not going to have to write this with my own fucking hands.
Yeah.
Like, there's like a lyric, and then there's like the website, and then there's like a password, you know?
And then it's like interactable. So like you're literally engaging with the people that want to engage with you the most.
Right.
Which is like the brilliant marketing aspect.
Right. We did that with T-Fool too, but I had to write it with my own hands, and I have terrible fucking handwriting.
It's not good. I'm looking at it right now. And that's from someone that doesn't have good handwriting saying that.
Yeah.
But I think like, you know, we had the T-Fool postcards that led into like these ones, and it was just run it back. I like, because it's me, I don't even know if you noticed this, like all of like the little line work and stuff on there, I change it every time.
Yeah,
so
I did
all
notice
the like,
it, yeah.
so the T-Fold ones are like this own, and like the back, like the side that you write on with the information,
right?
It's like it's the same layout, but it's ever so slightly
different.
No,
I did notice
just
it, yeah.
to be different. I don't like just the excuse, and if we do more, I'm gonna tweak them ever so slightly.
Right. I think it's good because I think it winds up making it so like it's not just like we're like pumping them out. Like I don't have money to do that anyway, but like,
well, this is like corporate speak, but it's like less templatized and more personalized.
Yeah. Fuck corporates, but
healthcare, am I right?
Yeah, no, you're not. At the time of recording, we've only released one of these, but there's intentions to do more. Talk to me about the poster.
Well, you're a big D&D nerd.
Yeah. Oops.
Especially like the older like modules, like the OG modules up until like I don't know this information, up to whatever edition where they have this certain aesthetic.
Yeah. They reference them throughout time, but I think it's mostly like D&D 2, like advanced.
Yeah, it's
advanced
like,
D&D
it's like OG
2
through 2 have like this very specific. It's so minimal in like the most beautiful way as someone that's a designer appreciates of. You have a solid block of color is just the book.
Yeah.
And you have titles, little body copy, and in the middle you have key art that's maybe not the greatest thing you've ever seen.
No, it's all bad, dude.
But that's part of the charm.
Yeah.
And you have this collection of them that like it was really cool to reference with this, but like they kind of like are beaded and look like shit in some extent.
Yeah.
But like compared to like modern design standards, they don't look the best, but that's part of what I like. It's like simple. It's like old advertising in a way too, which is what I'm drawn to.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we had a handful of years ago, we're big Magic the Gathering nerds. There's the Adventures in Forgotten Realms set that took that key art treatment, put it on cards, and was roughly the same style.
Yeah,
and so
I think it almost fits better on a card.
I think we had that like in our back pocket for like the past few years though, because of that of like where can this be used at some point.
Yeah. I'm glad that we wound up doing it because the first one that released, I think, came out amazingly. Like it came out exactly how I kind of wanted it to, even though, and I'm spoiling this here, the key art that I commissioned is cropped. It's very cropped.
Oh, it's heavily cropped. There's a full version of it it's all done like phenomenally, but we only needed like a certain small part of it. Welcome back
to the pod. We got interrupted by a door knocker for the local election. We live in Virginia.
Virginia has off-year election cycles.
Yeah, just like New York City. We were talking about the D&D poster. Obviously, I think that the key art, the original key art that I got commissioned, we cut off because.
We heavily cropped it just to. There was like too much of a focal, like too much going on for the size of the poster.
Not only that, but it looks like me yassified. Like
it is, and you didn't show this person.
No, I didn't. No, there's not a photo of myself. I gave them a rough.
Well,
I was like,
the best part is you're the bard.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, like here's a hairstyle. Like that's the maximum.
I smell a new like profile photo.
it's me yassified. It's really funny.
It's just you like looking really good around a bonfire for no reason.
Yeah.
With no one else there either.
Nope. I really appreciate the poster, and I'm excited because we're gonna at least do a few more. I don't really want to talk too much about like the long term of like that project itself. But I do know that we're going to do more posters.
Well, I mean, that's like playing off of what D&D did. I don't know if they still do. It's just they iterate like crazy in a way that...
They're serialized. They don't really serialize as much anymore.
Yeah, but like in a way that like I think like can create something really interesting, even though it is inherently iterative.
Yeah.
And it's just, okay, what came before, and then how do we tweak this a bit, change the colors, change the layout a little bit, get a more yassified version of you photo in there somehow.
Yeah, right. So I guess the one or two things that we haven't talked about are some things that we haven't worked on yet, but I think that, some of these things will probably be out by the time that this whole thing comes out.
Yeah.
Or at least partially out. Yeah. So obviously there's the posters, we did the postcards, we talked about the layout of the gatefold, which I'm really excited about. There's also we'll talk about a little bit about the future, the work that we're still going to do for the record, which is we have the test press cover that we're going to do. Which
I don't know if we fully know what we're doing.
We don't know.
We've been riffing on it.
But
we riff on everything, so it's hard to keep track.
Right, yeah. So there's going to be at least the test press cover, which we still have to work on, which at some point we'll post, which I'm excited about. In addition to the test press cover, we also have some stickers that we're going to do. That'll just kind of be... I don't know, extra add-ons, which I think will be fun.
Done some shirts.
Oh my God, the shirts. So talk to me about the shirts.
They come in a variety of sizes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You can wear them to any function.
Most functions.
I won't speak for all venues, but probably most functions.
Okay, so we did the Narciel shirt. Talk to me about this. What was this bit that we did?
The bit was the weekdays word mark, but make it Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Well, we had talked about doing two or three things because I really like the key art and all of the art of the 1970s animated Lord of the Rings and Hobbit films.
Yeah, it's very specific animation style. The poster's a very specific angle and aspect.
It's very cool. Yeah, very pulpy,
Incredibly, yeah.
Yeah, incredibly pulpy.
It's low budget in the most beautiful way.
Yeah, in a way that a lot of the rest of Lord of the Rings stuff, even prior to that, isn't.
Well, a bunch of that's rotoscope, right?
Yeah, that movie, so a bunch of it is rotoscoped. A bunch of it is also actually hand-drawn and not rotoscoped, but there's quite a bit of it that's
it just creates this jankiness that when you look at it now, but it's a very certain style.
Yeah. So we had talked about redoing the cover from Lord of the Rings, which has Gandalf and a big sword.
Yeah, and I think I told you I didn't have the time.
Yeah, you did, yeah. But we had riffed on a few different things. We talked about doing an Adventure Time rip with the sword through the type.
Which I feel is still an opportunity.
So could do something like that. And the original version of this, which might become a sticker, kind of was
the Adventure Time rip, but with
Narciel. Yeah, but with Narciel, the sword that was broken. So we wound up shifting it so it fit better on a t-shirt. And then there's the line from song 8 that's on the sleeves, but just in the typeface, which I think works.
Yeah, roughly in the typeface, more of that black letter, more of just that medieval kind of gothic.
Yeah. Did you distress the one?
I distress everything.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. The Narciel turned out cool. I think you did that in a cool way. That it wasn't it was thresholded and
it was a way of referencing the not enough time to do a full ass illustration for it. Was okay, how could I get something with the word mark that we could post with the album announcement so people can pre-order something?
Right. Yeah. So
it'd also be way easier to print.
Significantly, yeah. And then we have the Garfield shirt, which
because we hate Mondays,
which is we were riffing on shirts that
the weekdays is Tuesday through Friday only.
What other stuff have we not talked about? Oh, there's an insert for the album that we're going to do.
Insert that's currently we're thinking through.
Yeah, but it's going to,
Well, I'll turn it on you. Talk to me about why there's going to be an insert and why it's not in the gatefold.
Oh, cool. And why it's not what?
In the gatefold itself.
Yeah, okay, so there's too much text. So the problem with writing a concept album...
A lot of text.
The problem with writing a concept album, especially a fantasy concept album, is that you write too much. The record's 51 minutes, so
You sent me a you were trying to write everything, and then you sent me a summary of everything.
Yeah, I did write you a summary.
That was absurdly too much.
Yeah, it was 2.5...
And you got about 3 paragraphs.
It was about 3 pages, maybe 2 pages of content originally.
That could be 3 paragraphs if you don't indent.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was the original version, which was a 2-page summary of the story, and I had also done a T-Fool write-up that was, I think, maybe a paragraph and a half. The original T-Fool paragraph and a half is still the one that's
roughly
in there.
The same.
It's still roughly the same. I think I maybe changed a sentence in it, but it's still roughly the same.
Yeah, just a little primer.
Right. And then I went back and I I like removed a bunch of stuff from the story and I instead did a primer on the story. So it's not the full story in the gatefold, but it is a primer on the story.
It's enough to catch you up.
Yeah, right. It's enough to like kind of get you into the story and then give you like...
Well, referencing earlier, I think that feeds back into the minor details focusing on that aspect too.
Right,
where the average person's going to look at the gatefold, call it a day.
Right.
But if you want to read the whole story, here's this extra thing because you're crazy.
Right.
And you want to push it deeper.
Right. And so with the insert, there's the most recent edit that I have of the story it's just under 5 pages of content that will wind up being in the insert.
Yeah.
And then there's the lyrics. We want to put all the lyrics in the insert. I think you're going to wind up doing some illustrations.
Yeah, the layout's probably going to be roughly similar to the gatefold kind of aesthetic. Like if you look on the inner right side of it, it's very manuscripty. You called it Goonies-esque.
Yeah, it feels like the Goonies. Yeah,
like you discovered like a map or something.
Yeah. It feels like the way that the typeface, like the way that like the Magic-On typeface is
like the section titles aren't justified. Everything else is, and then you fill in all the bits and bobs in between.
Yeah.
But kind of like laying it out like that and splashing roughly minimal illustrations throughout of it.
Yeah,
which is also probably going to be drawing back to the whole like manuscript, like medieval thing.
Treasure mappy, early loader. Like the early copies of loader type,
like little map drawings.
Yeah. So that's going to go in the insert. We wanted to have all the lyrics. In the gatefold, there's like a thank you section and a credits section, and those are like pretty succinct. Like, I don't really see a reason to expand on those, especially on the credits. But like the thank yous, I'm sure I could think of more people.
You could. I mean, it's referencing too much copy. It was also a lot.
But there's going to wind up being an essay or two in the insert.
Yeah, Criterion style.
Yeah. I'll leave it to I'll leave that to like what that will wind up being to like the process, but that's the intention.
And that's a good example of like if you're into physical media like that and you're into like packaging like that, it's the tiniest little detail for the tiniest population that's going to care about it.
Right.
But for the people that care about it, it's like going to be everything.
Right. Because we're doing that in like kind of in lieu of a book for this album, like in lieu of a book,
which you had a limited run of for T-Full that you...
There's two editions, each of like between 20 and 25.
And you had a certain illustrator do all the imagery for it, and you printed and bound it yourself.
Yeah. So RB did the layout. I think like wrote the story version of T-Full, if I'm remembering correctly. Like we had like a working document that we like wrote the kind of summary of the whole thing in, and then RB like took that and turned that kind of into a story, or the two of us kind of did. And then RB laid that out with the illustrations that we had kind of gotten, and then wound up doing the layout of the whole book. And then we printed that, and it took me like 20 times to get it right. It was actually a really frustrating process to get that printed right.
I think my copy's one of the like miscuts.
Yeah. There's an early miscut. Then there's a first edition, then there's a second edition. So I don't know. There's probably about 60 copies of that book out there.
Mine will be worth more on the secondary
Probably
market.
not. I do have a few of them left at my house. I did post a video about that today.
Yeah.
If that gives you any context as to when
I saw that.
Yeah.
You should go buy those.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
You should.
Yeah, you should.
Pay for this production value.
But the insert is kind of in lieu of a book. I think I'm going to wind up like actually sewing the folios together.
I mean, it's very like zine culture-y, but...
Yeah, but like an elevated, like kind of an elevated take.
I mean,
on it,
we've said Criterion a couple times. If anyone out there is like a physical Criterion Blu-ray, it's if you open that, they have little booklets or posters or something in there.
Right.
That's kind of like the crux of the level that we're going for.
Yeah, that's kind of like the T-Full insert idea. Hopefully it'll wind up being cool. Like I don't really have any...
It'll probably... I mean, if it's not cool, we just won't do it.
Right. Yeah.
And that'll be a limited run to the first X amount for the albums. You're physically putting them in there.
Yeah. It'll come in I think the amount that I'll probably make is close to the amount of pre-orders that we'll get, plus a few extras, and then hopefully like we'll have like a good...
I'm just future-proofing this, so somehow if someone's watching this for whatever reason 2 years from now, inserts are probably gone.
All right, I mean, I know I never made another T-Full book run, but I think that there's a world in which the PDFs I'd at least make available online.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So even if there's not like a second run, maybe I'll post like both the T-Fool book and the Magic's Gone like
and
insert
you
book.
staple the Anarchist Cookbook behind it.
And a copy of Steal This Book. Don't buy them online. You go buy them. If you're going to buy either of those books, buy them with cash.
Or get a VPN.
Your name's still attached to it, an address.
If you're doing it wrong.
Okay, well, I think that's everything that we kind of wanted to talk about. I think that's everything that you've kind of touched on in this process of Magic's Gone. Is there anything else that you can think of in all of it that you wanted to talk about or that you could think of?
I mean, I think that's roughly it. In general, just like thanks for calling me at all hours to have roughly a 40 to 120 minute
yeah
like conversation about whatever, but that's just kind of like our relationship in general and how we think through things.
Yeah, no, it is.
And I don't know. Some of like the most like out there ideas I've ever had is from us two just riffing.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's everything that we've ever done, you know?
Yeah, it's like insufferable 17 years of us just, what about this?
Right. Yeah. No, I think the T-Fool, like even looking back on the T-Fool stuff or the other band that we do, Whitlib, which you can listen to, by the way, online.
Also, very much, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Which you don't.
Which, the same approach that we have to the weekdays is, and into this process, we also
this
have
process is the entirety of that project.
Yeah, so, right. Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. I feel like we've taken that same approach, but.
Well, this is a little bit more like on rails, but not in a bad way, where like the Whitlib stuff has kind of been like, stuff's recorded, we need something like visually like go and run with it, like go have fun, and we might like be going back and forth a little bit, but this one's like, okay, this is like kind of like the structure, how do we play within this like playground that we've made.
I feel like in the band feels like allowing you to kind of run with it, with these rails has worked out really well, and also that it's worth spending the money on the stuff that we're making, we're like spending a lot of money on this stuff, so we got to make something that's worth making the money.
Well, there's also like, there's more people involved. It's not just like two of us. It's us two plus everyone else in the band,
plus the label, Lindsay, and whether it's Chris or Greg who worked on the record,
whoever else, we had Sim doing the key art, like stuff like that.
Yeah. So like,
and that was like another part of the process. I wanted to respect the key art as much as possible, and like thinking about the back cover, I didn't want to. There's a little bit of like filigree type little like stuff around it, but I was hesitant to not mess with that. Right. Yeah. Or like my favorite, I think like the coolest part about how the front cover is illustrated, where it lays over the spine.
Yeah.
So if you see a physical version of the record, the sleeve like hangs over to the spine a little bit. So that like the writing on the spine includes the sleeve. It just worked out that way.
Yeah.
Like perfect for the angle of how like the front of an LP looks.
Yeah, no, I think it all wound up coming out really, really well, and I don't have the physical copies with me in hand yet. That'll be in a few weeks.
I mean, that's one of the like I want to do like a product shoot.
Yeah, we will, and I'm sure we will. Yeah, it's just one of those things where I look at all the stuff we've done and for this record, and I feel like it's the most fully realized version of a record that we've done.
It's a full ass campaign.
Yeah, and I guess for it being the first. Technically the first Weekdays LP. It's one of those things. I've been
I mean, because you guys have done that. Like Tight had its own little like angle to it, and Drowsy like a little less than that, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, even reflecting on Tight,
thinking of like the work, the key art that you guys had for that, and.
The most fully realized version of Tight is the book that Brooke made. Yeah. But, I mean, even then, there was only 25 of those.
The little, like, cassettes were in it. Mm-hmm. I mean, those were... I think, like, you see where that started to, like, where you are now with the T-Full book to, like, what we're doing here.
Yeah. That's, like, the more fully realized version of it. But, like, even looking at the vinyl of that, and even looking at, like, the screen-printed version of the vinyl that I did a few years ago when I bought all the records back.
Was this, like, the postscript era?
Yeah. This is like pre-T-Fool, so this is like right around when like Postscript came out. I think I got all of the Tight vinyl back. But even with that campaign, like a more fully realized version of it with the screen printed cover, it's not like the fully realized idea that we had when Tommy and I were working on that record.
Yeah, but it's also like a little smaller scale, right?
Right.
Like you knew you wanted to print it.
Right.
And you've been talking to me for years about doing LP1 printing and what that could look like and stuff like that, like before T-Fold.
Right.
Yeah. So, but I think like that experience with Tight leads to all the myriad of things we've done just for this one gatefold release.
Right. Drowsy was like a fully unrealized version of it all, and then like Tight, kind of is there, and then sweet. You know, the split with Foxy Dads was kind of there. And then, you know, even into T-Fool, you know, I felt really good about it, but we kind of bit off more than we could chew. And it definitely wasn't like in line. It wasn't like all in line with the same like design philosophy.
Well, you're also like releasing it in like end of 2020.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Not going to do shit with that at that point.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And, you know, we just had such an approach that was like, you just throw everything at the wall, you know, like let's get a bunch of different people to work on stuff.
Yeah. And I think that was like, you had me do the 6 postcards.
6 postcards, yeah.
And then you had like the illustrations for...
Yeah. Alana from Foxy Dads did the poster, and then Evan Wachowski, who did the cover art for Tight, did the t-shirt design, and then...
Who did the key art?
Oh, Ashley Wong.
Insert here.
I'm gonna if I fucked up their name, yeah.
You ADR it.
Yeah, I'm gonna ADR it.
Hell yeah. But like the stitching on that.
Yeah. And then
it's so like tactile.
Yeah. And that was, and I found them on Twitter actually. It was awesome.
But I think that was the angle. Like that was the goal with T-Full, was to, well, there's already so many people involved. Let's get more people involved.
Yeah, right.
And this one was a little bit more in network, maybe.
To be honest, the approach was so much like, it's been so long that I don't want it to feel disjointed.
Because it's been, I mean, we recorded like backing vocals for it here 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And at that point, we were thinking it was close to being finished.
Yeah. I think that with all of that, you know, the approach was like, let's make it all make sense. You know, like let's have like a really unified approach to like the visual.
I mean, you should see like the Google folders of just like, this is the inspo dump. This is like what it's based off of. If you look at the gatefold under like kind of the thanks section, I think, or credits maybe, it talks about like inspiration behind the album, like specific.
There's like 2-3 sentences on that. Yeah.
Specific like IP or property, but then even then it's like aesthetic that we talked about with like Green Knight and stuff.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, you know, with the story, you know, it was very much like really into Adventure Time and into like Over the Garden Wall when we were kind of like writing it. And those are like kind of like the story inspos. And I'd say that there's similar like Over the Garden Wall, like kind of stuff to the album. But I was thinking like deep greens and golds and, you know, this kind of like fantasy, like it's fantasy adjacent, because I wasn't like really into fantasy even at the time when we were doing all that.
It's like fantastical, but like regal a little bit.
Yeah. Green Knight and like a lot of black letter stuff is it was really where it was going, you know.
It's a more like brutal look to it.
Yeah. You know, I sent you some of the Saltburn stuff.
Yeah, because they had the imagery of that movie is not like this, but like the poster campaign they ran with it is like very much like in the similar style, like going for like this kind of like old brutal gothic aesthetic.
Yeah.
In like an interesting way that like juxtaposes to like the rest of the tone of it.
Right. So, you know, I think all of that stuff, you know, and taking a unified approach to the design of the album, I think worked really well. You know, I'm glad that you were able to kind of run with it. It all kind of worked out in the end. Like,
it got there.
You know, I think that.
Well, we still got to finish the insert, but it's gotten there so far.
Yeah, I think there's, you know, if there's one thing that's kind of an outlier, it's the Garfield shirt. But I think outside of that, it's like
you gotta throw shade at Mondays.
You know, I'm really glad that just like nothing kind of fell by the wayside. You know, it does feel like, at least so far in the process, who knows if by the time...
Well, it's also like a deadline kind of too, because like once you realize the album was done, you're like, oh shit, we can put this out this year.
Yeah.
And then that's your goalpost.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and then I picked a day.
So this is your fault.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. I just like picked a day, and I was just like, this is the day that it can come out. We can get everything else done by then, you know? Yeah, it's been a little hell to get it all done, especially fucking importing records in 2025.
And now you're a content creator.
And now I'm a fucking content creator.
Which is cool. The amount of times you've shit talked podcast to me and we're doing what we're doing right now was awesome.
Here's the thing. So for the record, I did call you.
By awesome, I mean hilarious.
Yeah. I did call Tyler and say, hey man, how many episodes of a fake podcast do I have to do before it becomes a real podcast?
The answer is probably 1, but I'd say I give it 3.
Does it count if it's not on Spotify?
We talked about doing SoundCloud podcasting. And there's something really funny about that. You release about 30 a week. They're all a minute long.
They're all
tops.
A minute long, yeah. Maybe 2 minutes. Yeah,
that's good, and that's the deep lore of the album.
That's the deep lore of the album. Yeah. Well, thanks for being on the first and maybe only episode.
Yeah, you know, I hope to be back soon.
Adventures in NoWhere.
I live here, so I don't think I'm going anywhere.
Nope. Also, thanks for making the Adventures in NoWhere logo on a fucking throwaway.
All we do is riff.
So I'm gonna spoil it right here. That was a thing.
Fake.
That was a fake thing that we did for the posters to not reveal the album name before it came out.
Yeah, because you already had the lineup for the announcement.
Yeah, because we already had the lineup for the announcement, and I wanted to put the poster out.
That's okay. So on those old D&D posters, there's like legal copy at the bottom. There's like little tiny logos, and we're throwing the label logo, Weekdays logo.
The label hadn't been announced. We were the first.
My logo, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, whatever little thing I have, and then there's like little tiny sub legal copy that you got to punch in, and it shows the announcement date.
It sure does. Yeah, it sure does show the announcement date, and it has a phone number on it, which still works.
You should call that phone number. Yeah, I got the beta test that with you because the first time I called it and you just answered and said what?
Yeah,
and I was like, what the fuck? I didn't realize it was a live number.
Yeah, it's a Google Voice number. I had to figure out how to do it, how to make it send directly to voicemail.
We had an idea for like crazy URLs.
I have one of them. I just haven't posted it yet.
Yeah.
Anything else fun that we haven't done anything with? I think the URLs one was a good one that we were trying to do a bit on for a long time.
Just riffing on what's the most insane URL we can get, like the end of it.
All right. Well, if you want to check out Tyler's, if you want to check out the other people on the pod, Tyler's website on the screen. You got anything you want to plug?
Mutual Aid, maybe.
Mutual Aid, yeah.
When's this coming out? Is this pre-November?
This is
4th.
No, it's probably not going to come up before the election.
Never mind. Yeah, just Mutual Aid because I don't got
Yeah.
I post weird illustrations, but that's about it.
Yeah, if you got money, buy the record. Also, donate money to people who need it. Oh, I mean, there's fucking Hurricane Melissa is absolutely wreaking havoc across the Caribbean and inevitably the southern United States slightly.
For no particular reason, maybe read up on fascism.
You should support a diversity of tactics.
Keep cash on you.
Well, thanks for coming through.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Thanks for coming through to your house.
I was here before, and I'll be here after because I can never leave.
Is, was, and always will be.
Yep.
This has been the first episode of Adventures in NoWhere. Hopefully, there'll be another one.
I was gonna say hopefully the last, but I like the diversity of answers.
I think we're gonna hope for another one. We're gonna pray for a second one.
7 years of LP2. Stay tuned.
Dude, if I swear to God,
we'll probably have roughly the same description of brown hair, glasses, some sort of facial hair combination, both wearing black.
I'm saying this right now. If Weekdays LP2 takes me fucking another 7 years.
What?
All right, thanks. Bye.